All right, hello, beautiful golden hour students. First off, make sure that you have written your name at the top. That is your name, not my name, right? Your name at the top. Amazing. And then, of course, your period. Let's dive into ToSEEC guided notes. So we have this beautiful chart here, and we're going to be starting by going through what each part of the ToSEEC process is. You are going to need some colored pencils in a moment. So if you do not have colored pencils, specifically yellow, blue, green, and orange, you might want to pause the video and come back once you have those colored pencils. So to start off, we have TOS. What is that? That is going to refer to our topic sentence. The topic sentence is how we start a strong paragraph. Now remember, ToSEEC is just one way that we can structure a paragraph. So when we start with the topic sentence, this is where we're stating your main idea and answering the question. Next up in the ToSEEC process is our evidence. Evidence is where we provide details or quote from the text. And again, we want to have a citation with that, right? We want to say, where is this evidence coming from? So this could either be a direct quote or it could be us paraphrasing, but we still want to make sure that we are providing evidence and giving a proper citation. The next E is elaboration. Fun fact, I always want to put double L in this, even though there's no reason to, but I don't know, something about this, I just want to put two L's, but it's elaboration. And this is where we're explaining how our evidence is connected to our idea. So it's really important to remember that these two are always going to go together. Whenever you have evidence, you then want to have elaboration. First evidence, then elaboration. One comes after the other. And then finally, C is going to be our concluding sentence. Now, you might be wondering, wait, why is this TOS and this isn't CS? I don't know. I have no good answer for you. That's just, I don't know, maybe because TOEEC doesn't sound as good as ToSEEC. I really couldn't tell you. But our C stands for concluding sentence, and this is where we're restating our main idea in a new way. It could be leaving the reader with a question or a realization, but something that's going to finalize our paragraph. Now, I told you all you're going to need some color pencils. So to start off, we're going to lightly, because you do not want to make it unreadable, you're going to lightly shade this TOS yellow. You're going to lightly shade your evidence box blue. You're going to lightly shade your elaboration box green. And you're going to lightly shade your concluding sentence orange. This doesn't need to be a whole production, friends. Just go ahead and take a moment to color code that because we're going to use those colors here in a moment. Now, a huge disclaimer. ToSEEC is one way. It is one way we can structure a paragraph, but it's not the only way to write one. We're going to spend a lot of time this year using this structure because it can be used in a number of situations and contexts. It's super flexible. But if the directions say to use ToSEEC, you are expected to use this structure. So while, again, this is not the only way to write a great paragraph, this particular structure is what we're talking about today. And if our directions this year say to use ToSEEC, this is what I'm going to expect from you. These specific guided notes are going to be used in the context of the Labubu article that you read or a different article that your teacher is referencing. But specifically for these guided notes, we're looking at the Labubu article, and our question to answer is, why has Labubu become such a popular trend? It does not make any sense to me, but after reading this article, I started to see, oh, wait, I could still write up a good paragraph about this. So remember our colors, yellow, blue, green, and orange. That's going to be helpful in a moment. Please make sure when you're actually writing, just use normal pen, pencil, whatever. But the colors are going to be helpful for what you see on the side here. So to start off, topic sentence. Remember, topic sentence is going to be yellow. So if you want to color in that circle or that square, whatever little symbol is next to TOS with yellow. Topic sentence states your main idea and answer the question. So I want you to pick one of these sentence starters. Labubu has become popular because, or one reason Labubu is such a big trend is. I'm going to start with this first one, but again, this is your choice. You should be picking one. So you can take a moment now that you've read the article to think about which one of these makes sense. For me, I'm going to write because of its unique aesthetic. I really just wanted an excuse to use the word aesthetic. And effective social media. Now, you can't use my exact wording because that would be cheating. That would be plagiarism. That would be copying. And if you just use my exact wording here, if you use this exactly, then sadly, you will not receive full points. So feel free to pause the video if you need to, so you can fill out one of these. You're doing this or this. You choose which one of these you want to do. Next up is evidence. Remember, evidence is going to be blue. Go ahead and color in your little symbol next to it. Again, for you, it might be a square. Provides details and a quote from the text to support your topic. Always include quotation marks and an MLA citation. And then a hint, good paragraphs often use multiple pieces of evidence. Oh no, not a typo. Not a typo. Mr. Hesser should have put multiple pieces of evidence. Sad day. Okay, we learn, we grow, we do better. So you could use either of these sentence starters. So for example, in the article, if you wanted to directly quote, you could say, in the article and then quote it directly. You could write, Wang writes and then quote the article, but you also can paraphrase it. I want to be clear. You could choose to say, in the article, Meg Ferry describes, and then say what she's describing and paraphrase it, but you still need to use a quotation at the end. You still need to use a quotation at the end. So, for example, I could say in the article, I'm not gonna use the quote there, just wait. I'm gonna say in the article, Meg Ferry describes Labubu as having, comma, and now I'm going to actually quote, that perfect, and so this is direct quote, that's why I use the quotations, balance of being creepy, I should have wrote smaller. I'm already regretting my choices. But cute. All right, and then end quote. Wang 2025. I apologize, just to clarify. Make sure that we still have where we're getting the source. So Wang is the author's last name. We have the year. No comma is necessary for this MLA citation. You could use either of these sentence starters. It's fine. Just remember, if we are using exact wording, we need the quotation marks if we're using exact wording. If we're not using exact wording, that's called paraphrasing, and we still need to say where we got it from, but we wouldn't need the quotation marks. Now, every time we use evidence, we pair that with elaboration. Green. It kind of looks yellowish, but I promise you it's green. Elaboration is explaining how the evidence supports your topic. You're connecting your quote to your answer. So evidence and elaboration are like a pair that goes together. In fact, I literally want you to go ahead and draw a little box or a circle around evidence elaboration so you understand that it's a pair. These are an example of sentence starters. I want to be so clear, friends. Sentence starters are a structure. It's a tool. You don't have to use these exact sentence starters, but for the purposes of the notes right now, I do want you to practice with it. So you could say, this shows that, insert whatever your thoughts are. You could say, this is important because I'm going to build off of my whole perfect balance of creepy and cute. And I'm going to say this is important because its unique look appeals to many different demographics. Helping the brand reach a wider audience. I'm so sorry. I got carried away. I got really excited with this answer, and so I just kept writing. So it's unique. This is important because its unique look appeals to many different demographics, helping the brand reach a wider audience. So I'm saying exactly how my evidence that I chose is connected to my original topic sentence, that its unique aesthetic and effective use of social media spread is why it's popular. And then finally, our concluding statement, which, remember, use your colored pencil, color that orange. Reinforce your main idea, restate your topic sense in a new way. So clearly Labubus have become popular because, or in conclusion, and then finish the sentence. So for me, I'm going to say, in conclusion, Labubu or I'll say the Labubu trend. The Labubu trend is a perfect storm. That was really just an excuse to use the word storm because I've been rewatching X-Men 97, of a compelling character design and viral social media presence. All right. Now, for the final part of your structure notes, you are writing a ToSEEC paragraph, but guess what, friends? You already wrote it. So you are simply taking the topic sentence that you wrote, you're taking the evidence, you're taking the elaboration, the concluding sentence, and you're just putting it together. Now, I will say, though, in my example, I gave an example of one evidence and one elaboration. A good ToSEEC paragraph will have more than one piece of evidence, all right? So I want to make sure that you're understanding that a good ToSEEC paragraph has more than one piece of evidence. And every time we use evidence, we connect that with elaboration. I hope this was just a good introduction for you to help understand ToSEEC paragraph and to see it in action. This is a great resource, and I find the colors helpful in breaking down the different parts of this paragraph. Best of luck and make good life choices.